Déjà vu, a French term coined by philosopher Émile Boirac, translates to already seen. It refers to a sudden feeling of familiarity with the current moment we're experiencing, almost as if this exact moment has already happened in the past. It is a very common phenomenon, with the majority of people claiming they have experienced this in their lifetime. Many fields of science are trying to provide some clarity about what causes this to happen, ranging from psychology to neuroscience. Temporal lobes are the parts of the brain responsible for sorting sensory input from the outside world. In the 1960s, neuroscientist Robert Efron suggested that since the temporal lobes receive signals independently from each other, there could sometimes be a slight delay between them when receiving the same signal. That delay could be explained as déjà vu. While one lobe has already received and processed the signal, the other one is just catching up. According to the theory, the brain would then interpret that other signal as something exactly the same that has already happened, something that was already processed and stored in the brain's memory. There is very little information available about this theory and Dr. Efron's work, but it is worth considering when trying to decode the mystery of this phenomenon. Another possible explanation could be the occurrence of cryptomnesia. Cryptomnesia is an occurrence where learned information is forgotten, but nevertheless stored in the brain. Some researchers claim that the brain's memory is not one with fixed and exact characteristics of the past. Rather, memory is reconstructive, meaning every time you remember a past event, it is being reconstructed from stored components, emotions, distortions, omissions, etc. Each time you recall a memory, your last reconstruction of that memory is actually the one you will remember. How does this relate to déjà vu? Déjà vu, in this case, could be a good match between the event occurring in front of your eyes and some stored reconstruction in your memory. The key thing to consider here is that this reconstruction of the memory could be significantly altered from the original event. So, when experiencing déjà vu, you feel familiar with the event, yet you cannot specify the exact memory you are trying to recall. In simpler terms, you feel familiar with the structure of the experienced moment to some extent, as if some brief moment in the past is eerily similar to the current one. That familiarity with the structure of past experiences was the key idea that motivated a 2012 study using VR technology to induce feelings of familiarity. The study was published in the international journal Consciousness and Cognition by a group of researchers from various universities across the United States. They presented their test subjects with a variety of different scenes in virtual reality. After that, they started to show scenes with some of them having similar spatial layouts to the ones previously shown. Some subjects reported having the feeling of déjà vu when presented with the scenes of similar structure to the previous scenes. Yet, they couldn't exactly recall the original scene they felt familiar with. A newer study from 2016 also tried to purposely invoke the déjà vu experience in participants. It was conducted at the University of St. Andrews in the UK, with the help of fMRI technology to scan the areas of the brain active during the experience. They showed subjects a lot of words associated with the word sleep, such as bed, pillow, night, dream, and so on. Next, they asked them if they remembered any word beginning with the letter S, despite none of the words beginning with the letter S. All of the subjects answered they did not remember. Following that, they asked them if they remembered the word sleep. Participants answered no, but at the same time felt kind of familiar with the word sleep, and some of them reported feeling of déjà vu. At that moment, the fMRI scan showed activity in the frontal part of the brain, an area associated with decision making, which was a bit surprising because it was expected that areas linked to memory would be active during the moments when participants felt the feeling of familiarity. What could this mean? This surprising result of the study gave birth to a new theory, which proposes that the brain is actually fact-checking its memories. Déjà vu could be the brain sending an error about what we think we experience and what we actually experienced. To clarify with an example from the study, at the beginning, when participants heard the list of words associated with the word sleep was present in their minds subconsciously during the experiment as an association. In the moment when they were asked if they remembered any words beginning with S, they immediately knew they didn't. But this step was crucial because it reinforced the suggestion in their subconscious about the word sleep. When asked next about the word sleep, the suggestion was too strong to be ignored by the brain, which in that moment does a quick checkup in the memory. According to the theory, this process of checking itself creates this confusing feeling of familiarity, or déjà vu. Due to the fact that déjà vu is more prevalent during the younger stages of life, it is thought that this is the sign of healthy memory system in the brain and that those individuals could be less prone to false memories. Contrary to that, it could also mean that individuals who don't experience this have actually better memory on average because they don't make memory errors in the first place, which triggers the feeling. It is very hard to tell due to the lack of more evidence for either of those claims. A bit more controversial claim for the phenomena is provided by the great Carl Jung, who loved to delve into more esoteric and mystic explanations. In his book, Answer to Job, he states, "As always, when an external event touches on some unconscious knowledge, this knowledge can reach consciousness. The event is recognized as a déjà vu, and one remembers a pre-existent knowledge about it. The pre-existent knowledge he talks about is a shared knowledge of humanity stored in the unconscious. This knowledge is passed from previous generations and contains symbols and archetypes. He sees déjà vu as a result of sudden subconscious tapping into that inherent knowledge we all possess. But that is not the only function of déjà vu according to Jung. In his book, On Synchronicity, he states, "The sentiment du déjà vu is based, as I have found in a number of cases, on a foreknowledge in dreams. But we saw that this foreknowledge can also occur in the waking state. In such cases, mere chance becomes highly improbable because the coincidence is known in advance. It thus loses its chance character, not only psychologically and subjectively, but objectively too, since the accumulation of details that coincide immeasurably increases the improbability of chance as a determining factor. So in these cases, it would be incongruous to speak of chance happenings. It is rather a question of meaningful coincidences. Usually, they're explained by precognition, in other words, foreknowledge." The paradox of déjà vu still challenges our understanding of the human brain and psyche, occasionally confusing and frightening us on an individual level. Despite many theories proposed and experiments conducted, the question remains unanswered, giving a strange aura of mysticism to this phenomena. What do you think? Feel free to share your opinion in the comments below. I would love to hear your perspective on this topic. Also, it would mean a huge deal for me as a small channel if you hit that subscribe button. I put a lot of work into the videos, ranging from research, editing, and narrating. I'm hopeful that this will one day become a large community of open-minded individuals who love to discuss hard questions about the human psyche, reality, philosophy, and other related topics. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again.